Hey everybody, it's Kiwikatgamer. Sorry I haven't been playing video games and reviewing them recently. I've just been really occupied with, more important things than that.
Kiwi, why do you lie to your subscribes like that? Just tell them you are a lazy bum who cannot be bothered to make sure your videos are recorded correctly, or that you are just too lazy to make that review of ukulele you have wanted to do since Christmas of last year.
Segway, don't you have, Avengers Infinity War or something to go watch? But he's right. Christmas of last year I bought Yooka-Laylee with the intent of reviewing it by January, but then I bought the game Mass Effect 2. And I was like, dang! Then I bought Mass Effect 3 and I was like, dang! And then I bought Mass Effect 1 and I was like, wowee, this is a pretty good game. And because I've sunk more hours into all three games than the hours I've sunk into Yooka-Laylee, 0 by the way, I haven't effing opened the game, I figured I should review a game that is fresher on my mind, something that I can speak more passionately about.
You mean be more biased about?
Hey, just because you're an inexplicable sentient Segway does not mean I cannot throw you in a garbage disposal.
You don't have a garbage disposal.
Yeah, not yet. Anyway, this is my review of BioWare's Mass Effect 1. Released November 20th, 2007, Mass Effect was the start of a series that would only continue to get better and better and then get mutilated and thrown in a blender and destroyed beyond recognition. But we don't talk about that one. Mass Effect is a plot-heavy third-person shooter action RPG with superb, memorable characters, an exciting and engaging combat system, and visuals that were almost always as impressive as that year in gaming could get. But I'm getting way ahead of myself. Let's start with the first game. In the year 2148, explorers on Mars discovered the remains of an ancient spacefaring civilization. In the decades that followed, these mysterious artifacts revealed startling new technologies, enabling travel to the furthest stars. The basis of this incredible technology was a force that controlled the very fabric of space and time. They called it the greatest discovery in human history. The civilization of the galaxy called it Mass Effect 1. Now, because this game is very story-driven, the character you make at the beginning of the game is very impactful to the rest of the game. For example, there'll be choices about your childhood, and depending on which ones you pick, people will make references to them. But it doesn't affect much else, don't worry. What does impact the rest of the game is the class you choose, because it will determine how you play the game, more or less. For the sake of clarification, I'm playing as a Vanguard, which can use shotguns, and look like this, instead of just choosing default Shepard and being a soldier and using every weapon but having no abilities and looking like this. I think I made the right choice. From the moment this game starts, it's interesting, and I think it's due in large part to how much the game lets what's happening tell the story, and not the story tell what's happening. Despite that concept seeming very obvious, there are still games now that prefer endless exposition about stuff that I could probably just observe in a few seconds. That's not to say that there's any lack of information in this game, it just isn't a hindrance to any gameplay or story elements. What I mean by this is, imagine that you're in the middle of a tense firefight and suddenly you saw a weird piece of technology and the game stopped dead in its tracks to tell you what it is, where this technology came from, how many of them exist, whether or not it contains gluten, and its weight in comparison to a DVD copy of Space Jam. That'd be stupid, right? And all that is relevant to about this thing is, these feffing robots are killing people with them and turning them into zombies, we gotta kill them. Boom, that's all you need to know. But then, Mass Effect goes the extra mile for the one guy in the world who said, wait, I do care about whether or not it contains gluten or not. And then included a codex that automatically gives you information about basically everything you see in the game in great detail. It even reads it to you. Gee, isn't it convenient to have a world-building codex right at your fingertips that you can access in the game and not have to play the game to find it but not be able to access it unless I take myself out of the game, go to my computer, and then look at the codex even though I'm already on the computer anyway, so why can't I just go to Wikipedia or feffing anywhere else because the internet has all the information in the world? Oh hey, what's Destiny doing here? And since the game doesn't dither about with unimportant exposition, it can be instead devoted to what's really important, the plot and the characters, both of which go hand in hand. The plot would not be as compelling without the myriad of immediately recognizable and relatable characters, and the characters would have no reason to grow if the plot wasn't there. Alright, so the plot goes like this. Shepard and two other guys, Caden and what does it matter, he dies in like 2 seconds, gets replaced by Ashley, are sent to a human colony to defend it from the army of Geth. Wait, what are Geth, Kiwi? Don't worry, it's not important, but if you want to find them, you can go to your handy-dandy codex or talk to the best girl in the entire Mass Effect series, Tali, about it. She'll tell you. On that mission, the person, not the character, sees a Spectre, basically a guy who can do whatever they want, get betrayed by another Spectre named Saren. Saren wants this thing, it does a thing, and then tells the Geth to go blow up the place. Shepard and crew stop the bomb, and the dumb idiot Ashley triggers the thing and almost has a thing done to her. But Shepard stops her from having a thing done to her and instead gets a thing done to himself instead. Shepard has a strange vision and blacks out. Meanwhile, Saren has a hissy fit about how the thing did a thing to Shepard. Wait, Kiwi, why aren't you telling us what it is? Remember my previous example about how it being dumb if things aren't immediately relevant to you and then stopping you dead in your tracks to explain it? It's not immediately relevant to us what this thing is or how it got here or even what it does. It doesn't matter if it's called Starence or Schnance Master 9000, so why bore you with? Shepard and company go to the council and Saren is there and Shepard says, Saren is leading the Geth. Proof? Say the council and Saren. Fact, says Shepard. So then he scours the Citadel, this giant space city, looking around for clues. Along the way he meets Garrus, a cool cop who doesn't follow the rules, Rex, a big dinosaur mercenary guy, and... Listen, if you try to tell me that Tali isn't the best girl in Mass Effect, I will punch you in the throat. Okay? And it's a good thing we saved Tali, besides obvious reasons, because she's the only one who actually has proof that Saren is a bad guy, and he also mentioned something about the Reapers. And Reapers aren't important, I'm assuming? No, they're the most important thing in the game. They're really bad guys and will continue to be the real bad guy for the whole entire rest of the series. And that, for all intents and purposes, is where the real game begins. You and your ragtag group of unlikely companions search the galaxy for ways to stop Saren from awakening an ancient and apocalyptic adversary. This isn't to say that the game forces you on this path. There is plenty of time to connect with your squad mates. Garrus, for example, talks about his struggle with the police force because of the restrictions that are created by all the rules. Because this game lets you choose your response to things, your input in conversations about this matter will cause him to view the situation differently, or be more against the rules depending on which one you go with. He even gives you a special mission where you have to hunt down a crazy scientist named Dr. Hart and bring him to justice. Wink wink, by that I mean kill him, wink wink. But the ability to choose your response makes Shepard that much more of a likable character because he is, in a sense, you. Your Shepard is absolutely going to be different from someone else's Shepard. Later in the game, you're forced to make hard, life-or-death decisions, and I would be lying if I said that they weren't really hard for me to make the first time I encountered them. As you make more decisions, you will incur either good points, Paragon, or bad points, Renegade, and the more of either that you get, the more decisions on the way of either one that you can make. It really makes you commit to the choices at hand, and it's very rewarding when you watch the fruits of your moral choices come to greater things. As I said before, the reason these interactions with these characters is so fun and rewarding is because how well they're written, how they react to things you do, and how they all react differently. Their personalities make fighting but alongside them that much more amazing because you feel like you're fighting alongside a friend instead of just like some random guy or some random marine or a guy who gives you commands. You fight next to Rex on the battlefield and he says a thing, and then off the battlefield, when you talk to him later, it just feels like a continuation of himself. And I think that's how these sort of games should be. And speaking of which, this game makes interaction even more important in that you can eventually romance members of your crew. So let's take a look at the eligible bachelorettes. Hailing from the colony Cyrona, she's a soldier with attitude and a heart set on doing the right thing. She may be mildly xenophobic, but that doesn't stop her from having a good time with a hunk of a man. Put your hands together for Bachelorette number 1, Ashley Williams. And Bachelorette number 2, a bookish but by no means boring Asari researcher. Only 106 years old, she's ready to give you facts about the Protheans anytime you ask. She can even read your mind, so you never have to worry about her not understanding what you're thinking. Give it up for Bachelorette number 2, Liara Tassoni! And Bachelorette number 3. Oh no, wait. No, actually there is no number 3. What? Are you kidding me? What? You aren't forgetting anyone? Nope, those are your only options. So you're telling me that you can't romance Tali? Well, no, she's on her pilgrimage right now. Technically, she's not even supposed to be on. And Mass Effect gets a 0 out of 10. It's the worst game ever. Okay, so just scrap all the stuff I said about romancing in this game. It isn't worth your time. What is worth your time is frequently checking up on your crew members and making sure they're happy with how you... So, which of these bachelorettes are you going... No, F you! These ones suck! Liara Tassoni? Are you serious? What, just, oh yeah, her dumb voice and useless babble about Protheans. So attractive, what? Just because she's a blue alien with a shapely body, I'm supposed to think that's the best choice? That's not all I care about, game. Tali is the only one with any discernible personality. Ashley is a subordinate, so that's not allowed, first of all. Second of all, she... And then even if you... Then all she does is... But Tali's more complex. She has fears and struggles and things that actually make her compelling to talk to. She has hopes and dreams and aspirations and things that I just want to help her accomplish. Kiwi, you know this is just a game, right? Shut up, you're just a game. Well, anyway, if the social aspect of the game isn't quite your cup of tea, at least the combat is fun. I mean, it's true that the combat is mostly hiding behind cover and waiting for your time to strike, but in more open settings with a squad of fully leveled teammates, battles become more intense and more action-packed. The weapons all feel satisfying due to their weight and the damage they can do. The ability to stop the action and command your guys to use their abilities is super useful, and the enemies are rarely ever so overwhelming that you can barely get by. Combat always feels like you're prepared, and even in instances where you are ambushed, it's never so unfair that you just get sniped and killed and... Oh. Yeah, never mind, that does sometimes happen. But unfortunately, most of the time, combat is slow and gives you too much time to calculate. And while there certainly is merit to that game design choice, it's probably my biggest complaint. Wait, actually no, second complaint. Oh, Pfeff, I forgot about those car parts. Okay, yeah, third biggest complaint. While the story itself feels correctly paced, the gameplay itself feels kind of stunted in that aspect. Combat can be sluggish due to how much waiting around there is. Some conversations with random people feel like they go on for way too long. Even walking from place to place is really slow. Shepard walks at this brisk afternoon stroll unless you're in combat. So in missions like the Yay, keeper mission, where you have to walk around for hours looking for these dumb bugs, feels like they take more hours because of how slow Shepard moves. Now, think for a moment. This problem is a mix of slow and somewhat clunky movement and the spaces being too big to traverse in a timely manner. What can we do to make that worse? Oh, I know, let's make this car part where you have to drive around these big, giant, empty wastelands looking for one single thing. Oops, did you accidentally touch lava? Well, now you gotta die. Hope your quick save was somewhere close. It wasn't? Oh, Pfeff you. Guess you'll have to do it all over again. This car is just about the worst thing in this game. It is way too slow to quickly span these massive areas that are expected for you to go, and it's somehow even clunkier than Shepard himself. It has a single machine gun and a rocket launcher that you have to do combat with while driving. You can't upgrade those weapons. The driving in this game is like getting your hands stuck in a pickle jar. At first things aren't working out, but you're calm and collected and you start making logical and precise movements to get your hand out. But then those don't work and you start getting frustrated and panic. So your movement starts getting sporadic and crazy. And then you don't know, and then those don't work, so now you're using the other hand to hold down the jars, you're forcing your hand out as best you can, and that doesn't work, so then you're just going wilder and crazier and flailing your arms around, and eventually you get your hand out, and then you realize, one, you didn't even get a pickle, and two, you had no idea how you got your hand out in the first place. What was I talking about again? Oh, right, the slowness and clunkiness of the gameplay. I suppose it just comes from the game being older and trying to have impressive and nice-looking landscapes. And to be fair, some of them are, but I would just rather the maps be smaller so I can actually get where I'm going and just get out of there. Overall, Mass Effect was a great introduction to this series, giving players a taste of this new world, new characters, and a new way to play shooters. I honestly love this game, despite some of the shortcomings and its feffing big shortcoming, but I digress as usual. It's because of these shortcomings, however, that I didn't put this in the I feffing love category. This game is great, but not without its flaws. I give Mass Effect 1 an 8.5 out of 10.
What, you are giving this game a worse score than Zoom Binnies?
Oh wow, Segway, you actually watched my old videos?
Yay, why are you giving Mass Effect a worse score than Zoom Binnies?
Well, they aren't really comparable. If Zumbinis was on the same caliber as Mass Effect, Zumbinis would be like a 4. But in the context of just kid games, Zumbinis is one of the best. The context of all games, however, Mass Effect still stands tall at a solid 8.5, a well above average game with a few clunky design choices here and there, not to mention the effects of aging. And that is my review of Mass Effect 1. What do you think? Do you agree? Disagree? Do you want to fight me and die because you said Tali isn't the best girl? Do it in the comments, and I'll be happy to see it. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you guys in like 8 months when I review Mass Effect 2. Bye! And just in case you needed any other reason to get this game, there's 3 waterfalls. Come on, you know my policy with those.